right, welcome to the presentation of Recon Ninjas. The first thing I want to point out to you is that we are also not only a computer app, but a mobile app. You'll see that we're approved to be on Google Play and also the Apple App Store. So those users that are using Recon Ninjas that work in the shop that might not have access to a computer, well, they can certainly do this from their smartphone. I'm going to log into our admin site and then pull up a dealer, our demo dealer here. So we're going to log into our demo dealership. Now, let me just give you a quick kind of overview of how this product came about. As you know, we're a phone training company, and one day I happened to be talking to one of my clients, and he was complaining to me about some software he was using to track his used cars. And I'm like, well, how hard can that be? He's like, exactly. And he asked me to build it. And I'm like, well, it's not really in my wheelhouse. I'm not really interested. And so a week later, I'm having a conversation with another customer who happens to bring up they're unhappy with their reconditioning software. And I'm like, hey, maybe there's something here. So I went back to the first guy and I said, look, I'll help you build something. I'll build it for you, but I'm going to need your guidance as to what you want. And that's how Recon Ninjas came about. And what we're looking at here is the main dashboard, which gives you a sense of your total inventory, how many have completed, and it shows you the different steps. These steps are all customizable to your dealership. Time to complete, business time to complete. So time to complete is, you know, how many days did it take? Business time is based on the hours of that department and when the steps. So each one of these steps can have a different business time to complete. So we get a total waste time. You can even put in your daily holding costs. What's it cost you to have a car on your lot? We don't have that in our demo account, but you can put those in. Now, let's kind of go over how to set the product up real quick. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put all of our users into the tool. And when you put a user in, you're basically giving us their name, their email address, and their cell phone. And this is how we notify somebody when they get a vehicle that they need to work on. So let's say that you know, I want to receive my messages by text message. I could get them by email or by mobile app. We define the role of that person. Now let's say that I've got somebody that, hey, their only job is to detail the vehicle. If I click on that, that's the only step that they can interact with. Here's where we're going to build our steps. And once you build your steps, you know, maybe I want this step to be above this step. You can totally move these steps around wherever you want them. And when you build a step, you're going to basically identify whether it's a first step, a normal step, a last step, which is basically the complete step, or if you want to hold that vehicle. And the hold would be for things like WEO, things that you might want to hang on to that information about that vehicle because you know you need to do some work for it for the customer. Because typically the vehicles will drop off of here as they drop off your inventory feed. You put in how many hours should it take in that step. So basically it's like playing hot potato. When I get the vehicle, it's my job to move that vehicle out of my step as quickly as possible to the next step. Thus, we facilitate the time to getting that vehicle frontline ready. We have the ability in steps to build sub-steps. So one of the complaints that we heard about the other product was that, hey, Jerry, when a vehicle is in a step, it's only in that one step. Other people don't know they should be working on it. So we've given dealers the ability to build sub-steps. So an example of that would be, let's say that I have a car, and I'm looking at it, and I notice the bumper's got some scratches on it that I want to have my bumper guy come in and take care of. I notice that the alloy wheel has a bunch of scratches on it. I want to get that fixed. That's a different vendor. Maybe there's a tear in the nice leather seats. I want to get that fixed. That's another vendor. Maybe there's even a dent in the door. I want to get the dent wizard in there. So we give you the ability to build sub-steps under a step. And what that does for you is when you're on the dashboard, let's say that I'm going to take one of these incoming cars here, and I know that it needs to be moved to the shop. So I'm going to move that vehicle to the shop. The shop then gets notified they have a vehicle. But I also know that, hey, I want to have these 3 things done to the car while it's in there. Maybe these are my vendors. Well, those people all just got notified that they have a vehicle to work on. So that's the sub-step philosophy. Make sense? All right. Continuing on with the setup, we also give people the ability to build a checklist. So if you want to have your actual users check off that they did certain things to a vehicle, you can build those checklists here. We give the ability to have more than one location. We do charge by a rooftop. You'll also put your departments in here. And when you put a department in, this is where you set up that department's hours so that we can track the vehicle's time. You can also color code these, and you assign that department to one of your users who's a manager. We take a inventory feed report from your inventory provider. That could be your DMS, vAuto, HomeNet, whoever is providing an inventory feed. We'll take that feed. This is where they send that feed to. And generally, most dealers are having that come in first thing in the morning. So let's go to the dashboard. Let's say I want to go take one of these vehicles. It's an inspection, and I want to move it to a different department. Simply click on the department I want to move it to, and that vehicle is then moved to that department. So if I click back into that step, I'll see that vehicle's gone. But if I go to detailing, I can see that vehicle's now in detailing. Let's say that I just sold this vehicle, so I want to make that a higher priority. I can click on the higher priority, and then when I come back into this step, when I come back in, normally this would be up at the top. Also want to point out that there's a comment section here as well. And let's say I wanted to type in some comments about this vehicle, I could. We're adding a feature this week that's going to allow, let's say I'm the shop guy and working on this vehicle, and I know that it needs 3 new tires or 4 new tires, but I don't have approval to put those on. So I could type out, hey, this vehicle needs 4 tires, it's going to cost X, Y, Z. I then choose who I send this to. That person then gets a notification on their phone that there's a pending alert for that vehicle. They could then approve that, and then that person has the permission to go ahead and put those tires on. We can see exactly what's happened with the vehicle, all the steps that it's completed so far. So we give you a history of what's happened to that vehicle. If you want to go edit any information about that vehicle, you can do that. If I wanted to remove this vehicle, I could delete it. You can also add vehicles. Say I just took a vehicle in, but I want to get it in right now. You can add a vehicle to the system, and when the update comes, it'll match that vehicle with the feed. Let's see here. What else do I want to show you? The mobile version. So when we look at the mobile, the text messages, this is what the text messages look like when people get a text message letting them know they have a vehicle to work on. When they open up the mobile app, that looks like this right here. So they basically see the steps, and if they're only allowed to work certain steps, the steps they can't touch will be blocked out. Or if there's no vehicles in that step, they'll be blocked out. They can search for vehicles. They can go look at the makes and models. They can work with different locations. And so when I click on one of these steps, it then pulls up and shows me actual vehicles that are in that step. Let's say I got done working on this Ford Taurus. I would click on it, and then it asks me, okay, where do I want to move that vehicle to next? And when I hit update, that next person is going to get notified that they have a vehicle to work on. Another feature that we just added to the system is the ability to have a sales process steps. Haven't built any in here yet, but basically what this is all about, when I used to sell cars, when I sold a car, I would have to go to the shop with a piece of paper that said, I just sold this car, here's my delivery time, and the shop would then do its thing and get that vehicle ready. So we're going to allow dealerships to build a sales process in here. Maybe if it's a Honda dealer, they get the new car PDI. So the car gets PDI. They build a step for inspection. They build a step for wash and wax. They build a step for gas. And so that car then moves through those steps, and there's a target end time based on the delivery time that the salesperson puts in. So that's a feature we just added to the system. And the cool thing about this tool is that we are looking to make it the best possible tool in the industry. And so when a dealer asks for something, we're going to build it. As long as it makes sense and other dealers see value in it, we're going to put it in here. We have a report. Basically, if there's a weakness to our system right now, it's reports, but we're going to fix that very quickly. The report that we have in here right now is basically showing you cars that are in inventory steps too long. Users have the ability to email themselves these reports. So we have one GM that gets this report on a daily basis. He looks through it and he can see, all right, why has this car been in this step too long? So we're going to be adding more reports as dealer requests them. But I know one of the reports that we're going to look at building here very soon is a performance report. It's going to basically show a dealer how they've done from 1 month to the next. It's going to show how each department and each step has progressed from 1 month to the next, so that we hold people accountable and get those cars frontline ready faster. That's the program. Any questions?
Nope, that's pretty good.
All right, let me just stop this recording real quick here and we'll